welcome to my channel. My name is Martina and in this video I'm going to talk about my first trimester of pregnancy. I will discuss my symptoms and in particular the symptoms that worried me and how having PCOS influenced my first trimester. So I hope that with this video maybe I can give you some advice or alleviate some of your worries. Let's start from the symptoms that I had even before I knew I was pregnant. At the time, obviously, I didn't know that I was pregnant, but I did have some symptoms very early on. For example, I was peeing a lot, especially in the night, which is something that was quite new to me. And something else that I had was acne. I remember that one day I looked at myself in the mirror and I had like two big pimples like over this side of the face, and that was strange because I don't usually get acne. So I remember seeing these pimples and thinking, that's strange, but I thought that maybe it was a result of the hormonal treatment that I was doing. I have another video where I talk about my journey with infertility and what I did to conceive, so check it out if you want more information on that. Another symptom that I had even before knowing that I was pregnant was cramps. So I had basically on the day that I was supposed to get my period, I remember that during the night I had these really strong period pains, and I remember thinking, oh okay, I'm getting my period, so I'm not pregnant. I woke up in the morning and I didn't have my period, and I thought, okay, I mean, it's coming in the next few hours, I'm sure. I had period cramps again during the day and still my period didn't come. So that's when I started thinking, oh, maybe I am pregnant. I remember Googling period pains but no period, and one of the first results that you get is that you might be pregnant. So that was the first real symptom that made me think that maybe I was pregnant. So yeah, basically the day after I took a pregnancy test and it was positive, so I knew that I was pregnant. I wanted to focus on these pains that I had because I experienced these cramps for about a couple of weeks, and I was really worried about this. I thought it was a signal that something was wrong, the pregnancy was not going well. And to explain to you a bit better the kind of pain that I had, it was just like period pain, but a lot worse, and it would come in like a flash. It would last for a few minutes, and during those few minutes I was like literally in pain. I couldn't like stand up, I couldn't do anything, and I would get this for like 2-3 times a day, and this happened for about 2 weeks, so during my 4th and 5th weeks of pregnancy. Apparently that is pain due to your uterus stretching to make space for the baby to grow, essentially. So in my case, it was not accompanied by any blood or any spotting or anything like that. So yeah, I was still worried, but I tried to remind myself that it was probably normal. Another symptom that I had really early on was nausea. So I actually started having nausea from the day after finding out I was pregnant. So I was like 4 weeks pregnant and I had a lot of nausea already. So this lasted throughout my 4th week of pregnancy. I really could not eat a lot. I could only eat certain foods. I was only craving very like salty, savory foods like anchovies or things like that. Now, for my 5th week of pregnancy, this was when I was really worried because all the symptoms that I had in my 4th week basically disappeared. I had no more nausea, I had no food cravings, no food aversion, no boob pain, nothing. I just had the cramps. So I was really worried. I remember talking to my parents because they knew that I was pregnant. I remember talking to them and saying, just to let you know, I don't think this is going to be a successful pregnancy, because I was down a rabbit hole of Google searches and reading that if your symptoms disappear, you may be having a miscarriage or things like that. So yeah, I basically convinced myself that I was having a miscarriage, and I was really depressed about it. Yeah, apparently this is also normal. So it's also normal to have symptoms that come and go. You know, for me, throughout my first trimester and also part of my second, my symptoms were not always the same or the same intensity. So I would spend 1 week with a lot of symptoms, and the next week I had almost nothing, and the week after they came back. So it was very like up and down, and that can be normal apparently. Or even like during the day, I would feel like amazing certain parts of the day and horrible during other times of the day. So that can happen as well. For my 6th week of pregnancy, this is when my symptoms really came back, and they were even stronger than before. So apparently the 6th week is when you usually get nausea for the first time, and it did come back for me. It was stronger than before. I had a really hard time eating like anything at all. I think I lost some weight during my first trimester, which I'm quite sure that I gained back. I don't know, because I haven't weighed myself, but I'm quite sure that I gained the weight back. So because I was really worried at this time, I did a couple of things to make me feel better. So I did a blood test through Medichecks, which is an online service where basically they ship you home a blood test kit. You prick your finger, put some blood in this tube, and you get your results back in a few days. I guess it depends on which test you are doing, and you also get a doctor note which helps you interpret the results. So in my case, I did the I think it was like pregnancy tracker, something like that test, which tested 2 hormones. It was progesterone and HCG. When the results came back, they were normal. So they said, yes, your results indicate that you are about 6 weeks pregnant. So that really made me feel a lot better. During my 6th week is also when I did my first scan. So I had to do this privately because the NHS, since I didn't have a high-risk pregnancy, my first scan would be at 12 weeks, and I could not resist until 12 weeks to know if this was a viable pregnancy, if everything was okay. You know, I couldn't wait 3 months to do my first scan. So I went privately and did a 6-week scan. It went really well. It actually showed a heartbeat, which was amazing to see. And obviously at 6 weeks, you cannot see much. It's just really, really small. Even seeing the heartbeat is amazing because you know that, you know, the pregnancy is going well. It also made me feel a lot better because before then, I was starting to think that maybe I had an ectopic pregnancy. And the reason why I think that is because the pain that I had on my tummy, it was a lot stronger on the left side. Again, reading on Google, you find a lot of results saying if you have pain on your side, it might be an ectopic pregnancy. So I was really worried about that. I was like, oh my gosh, they're going to remove my fallopian tube. My left ovary is the only one that works. I'm never going to get pregnant again. So I was really, my mind was traveling a lot. So the doctor was able to confirm that it was not ectopic, and the reason why my left side did hurt so much is because my left ovary, which was the one that made the egg that became fertilized, was producing a lot of hormones, and you could literally see on the scan this ovary with this like kind of thread which was made like this, which connected the ovary to the uterus, and this like passage of hormones apparently was making my left side hurt a bit more. So that was really good to hear. The following weeks I did not have any particular symptoms. I still had nausea, food cravings, food aversions, but these symptoms would come and go. They were not constant, they were not always the same. So even reading like my notes from week to week, they're like, one week I had symptoms, the next week I didn't. So yeah, they were a bit irregular, let's say, but apparently that's normal. I had another scan at 10 weeks to see how the pregnancy was going, and I also did an NIPT test. I did this privately as well, because again, the first scan that you do with the NHS normally is at 12 weeks. So at 10 weeks, the baby that we saw on the scan was a lot more formed already. It already had like legs and arms, and it was crazy to see the difference from 6 to 10 weeks. And yeah, I also did this panorama test, which is basically a blood test, and through your blood test they look at the DNA of the baby and they test for some chromosomal abnormalities such as Down syndrome, Patau syndrome, Edwards syndrome. I don't even know all of them, and they can also tell you the sex of the baby if you want to, and I chose that. I wanted to know. So again, really worried, really anxious, and especially because the clinic told me, when we get your results back, if there is bad news, we're going to give you a call. And one day I got a call from them and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm going to get bad news. It was not bad news. They actually just called me to let me know that they got results and they were all fine. They sent me the report. I could see that it was low risk for all the conditions. And just as an FYI, this test cannot diagnose symptoms. It just gives you an idea of how high or low the risk is that your baby has these conditions. But if you do get a high risk result, you need to do further tests to confirm if the baby has these conditions or not. So yeah, they called me, told me everything was fine. I saw the report, so that the baby was a boy, but I already knew it was a boy. Like I felt it so much. I was sure that it was a boy. My nausea actually started going away not at the end of the first trimester. It went away a bit later than that, around like 15-16 weeks. Another symptom that I had, which is apparently really common in pregnancy, is UTI. So when I had my first midwife appointment, they found bacteria in my urine, which was not surprising to me because I am prone to urine infections. I always get them. So I had to take antibiotics for this, and it worked because at the next midwife appointment I had, they did not find any bacteria, so that was good. So now I wanted to discuss how PCOS influenced my first trimester. So again, if you want to learn more, you can watch my other video about this, but The thing is that most women with PCOS have insulin resistance, and I do have insulin resistance. Prior to getting pregnant, I was eating a really low carb, low glycemic index diet, and I really wanted to keep this up after getting pregnant, because I know that if you have insulin resistance, you are more likely to get gestational diabetes and other conditions. So I really wanted to keep up my diet during pregnancy. I did try. Obviously I had a lot of nausea, and it was constant. It was not just in the morning or just in the evening, it was all day. And it was really hard for me to eat what I ate before, like salads and soups. I just couldn't do it. So I tried to look for keto bread, low sugar options. But yeah, in my case, I couldn't. I had such strong food aversions that I could not eat healthy stuff. So at this point, I was like, you know what? I just need to eat. So I'm just going to eat whatever I feel like. And it was a lot of carbs, a lot of bread, a lot of potatoes. During certain weeks, it was cheese, salty, savory foods. During certain weeks, it was sushi, obviously vegan sushi, because you shouldn't eat raw fish when you're pregnant. I am still taking inositol. I'm still taking NAC and acetylcysteine. And obviously I'm taking my prenatal vitamins. So I am doing the best that I can to treat my PCOS while being pregnant. So yeah, I mean, the first trimester was rough. I had constant nausea, pain, worries, anxiety. It was not easy, and I was also getting ill quite a lot because my immune system was compromised. So I got the flu, I got UTI. I don't remember what else I got, but I remember that I was ill quite a few times. So yeah, you know what? I just did the best that I could. I could not continue my diet that I was doing before. I tried, and I would literally gag while trying to eat vegetables or salads. So even workouts, I was working out a lot before, but during my first trimester, I was so nauseous and ill, I couldn't work out a lot. I did the best that I could. I went on walks sometimes when I felt like it, but it was absolutely not the same as before. Now that I'm in the second trimester, it's a lot better, and I'm going to do another video. But yeah, so this was my first trimester and how I tried to manage my PCOS while being in my first trimester of pregnancy. I am currently 21 weeks pregnant today, hoping that the baby will be healthy and alright throughout the whole pregnancy and after. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. I am definitely going to make other videos about PCOS, pregnancy, and books, a lot more. So subscribe if you are interested in seeing those. So yeah, see you next time. Bye.